Unaffordable Care Act? North Carolinians could be paying thousands of dollars per month for health insurance next year. What's at stake as senators punt the political fight over subsidy extensions?
We're going from snow to the 70s, how cold it'll get tonight, and the week-long warm-up that'll have it feeling like fall again.
And loophole close. How an end to the government shutdown could make nearly all products at your local hemp store illegal.
Another cold night. Too cold, I would say.
I agreed.
You do? You agree?
do. Yes.
Who asked us anyway, though? Look, low of 34 tonight at RDU. Winter trying to sneak in a little early on us. It wants to start the holidays, I guess. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. Fortunately, not sticking around for too long, but we do have a few more cold nights ahead of us this week. Kat, the difference here is that things should warm up a little bit during the day.
Oh, absolutely. Tomorrow we'll see a big climb during the day. And then by the end of the week, warm weather lovers, you've got a lot to look forward to. We'll put it that way. Outside right now, the wind chill sitting at 36 in the Triangle with an air temperature of 41. It's 39 in Fayetteville. The wind making it feel like 33. It's chilly out there, needless to say. And we had the widespread freeze this morning. So the growing season has ended. There's a couple things that are significant about this. There won't be any more frost advisories or freeze warnings until the spring. And it should also help out a little bit with some of the gnats and mosquitoes out there. At the bus stop in the morning, 32 in Roxborough, still near freezing there. 34 in Durham, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, 35 for Goldsboro and Fayetteville. But it will be breezy again tomorrow. And because of that, we've got a wind chill to deal with. Mid to upper 20s is what it'll feel like tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And by the main morning commute at 8 a.m., feeling like the upper 20s to lower 30s. I'll have a closer look at when high temperatures climb back into the mid 70s, though, coming up.
Mid 70s. Looking forward to that. Thanks, Kat. Hey, Wake County deputies will start using tasers again. They were phased out in 2019 because they became a liability. But apparently now, just 6 years later, the risk is worth it. In an interview you'll see only on WRAL, our Destiny Patterson sat down with Sheriff Willie Rowe about the change.
After years without them, tasers will be back on the hips of Wake County deputies. The sheriff's office will get 200 of these Taser 10s. The manufacturer advertises them as less lethal.
We're trying to look at the best resource, again, to contain the situation and reduce the risk of injury.
The department phased out the technology in 2019 under previous Sheriff Gerald Baker. The decision came after a court ruling brought up liability concerns.
Is liability still a concern here?
Well, liability will always exist. The focus is to make sure that we have the proper training.
Current Sheriff Willie Rowe says his deputies have experienced an uptick in combative reactions from people, a trend supported by FBI data.
However, we have seen an increase of impaired individuals that we deal with. There has also been uptick in dealing with individuals who are suffering from mental illness.
Attorney Don Blagrove with nonprofit Emancipate NC calls the reintroduction beneficial. She says the technology will need to be paired with quality training.
I would love to see a stronger emphasis on diffusing situations without the need for force.
Destiny Patterson reporting. The sheriff says it will take anywhere from 6 to 9 months to fully implement the tasers. Now, let's get you caught up on some of today's other big headlines. Here are 5 things you should know right now. The man at the center of a high-speed, dramatic chase through Wake County died. Records show Anthony Mingo died 2 days after this chase and crash on October 24th. You'll recall Sky 5 caught the moment he sideswiped another car, spun out, and then ran into a Nightdale restaurant. At the time, police told us he went to the hospital for self-inflicted injuries. 3 people were forced from their home after a house fire in Durham. Right now, fire investigators are trying to figure out what caused it. You can see the charred siding on the home on Bent Branch Court. The fire department told us the fire was under control in less than 15 minutes, and amazingly, no one was hurt. The baby formula recall linked to infant botulism has expanded. It impacts this brand of ByHeart Whole Nutrition infant formula. Right now, 15 infants across 12 states have been exposed to or suspected of having the illness. One of the suspected cases is here in North Carolina.
Another milestone in our recovery from tropical depression Chantal. The Bowling Creek Trail is now back open 4 months after the storm brought severe flooding to the Triangle. Crews are currently working on finishing the path on that Fordham side now. After that, they'll move on to the Morgan Creek Trail. One of our area's biggest health providers will no longer be in network for a lot of people next year. UNC Health will no longer be considered an in-network provider for Humana Medical Advantage, WellCare Medical Advantage, and Healthcare Service Corporation in the new year. People enrolled in Humana through the state health plan will not be impacted. So reopening the government may mean closing a loophole that has helped North Carolina's multi-million-dollar hemp industry to explode. A part of the federal spending bill would ban the sale of most hemp-derived THC products, and this would hit hard. Everyone from farmers to bars, turn products you can buy in a grocery store into illegal contraband and potentially decimate a booming industry. WRAL's Flynn Snyder reads us the fine print.
Nope. Nothing in this case at all.
Eric Stahl checks the products in his store that he won't be able to sell if changes to federal hemp laws pass.
That law effectively would make 99% of the products in my store and 99% of the products available in stores across the country illegal.
A provision in a Senate spending deal to reopen the federal government would ban most THC products that are now legal. It would place stricter limits on the amount of THC allowed in those products. It's a change 39 attorneys general, including North Carolina's, have called for. They signed this letter to federal lawmakers last month, urging them to change hemp laws, citing potency and safety concerns. Stahl believes more regulations are needed instead of these possible changes, which he says go too far.
Every single hemp farm would have to burn their crop, burn their seeds, and start completely from scratch.
That is Flynn Snyder reporting there. The state's Department of Agriculture says there are more than 1,500 licensed hemp producers in North Carolina. 1,500. U.S. Senator Ted Budd supported the provision, saying it will prevent the sale of dangerous intoxicants in unregulated stores. Still so much to talk about here with this story, and we wanted to hear from you. We are, again, trying out a bit of a new email address for you to send your questions and comments. We want to just keep using them throughout the newscast because we know how many of you at home have really intelligent things to say about what's happening and how we cover it. So email 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. What questions do you have about the hemp industry in North Carolina? What this government shutdown deal could mean for that? Send us your feedback, and we'll talk about it here at 7 o'clock.
It's starting to look like this government shutdown will be over in a few days, but that doesn't mean the story is over. What's next for SNAP? What's next for the Affordable Care Act? We are tackling both subjects tonight. Up next, the latest from a local food bank and what the deal in the Senate means for healthcare costs across our state. Kat?
The geomagnetic storm has begun, but will we really get to see the northern lights? I'll have a closer look coming up.
The 42nd day of the longest government shutdown in history is just about in the books, but potentially this could all be over soon. The Senate did make a deal, and now the House has to vote and the president has to sign it. In the meantime, the Supreme Court did extend the pause on fully funding SNAP. So to keep food on the table, people are heading to food banks, and the ones in North Carolina are really busy. WRAL's Willie Danley joining us live from a food bank tonight where the governor just announced something that's going to help, $22 million to help fund all of the work that they're doing there.
Yes, he did, Dan. Just a couple of hours ago, the governor was inside this food bank packaging up boxes to help people around the area. He also addressed how this shutdown has impacted people who live in North Carolina. The governor, alongside Lieutenant Governor Hunt, packaged boxes of food here at the food bank alongside dozens of volunteers. The CEO of the food bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina said since the government shutdown begun, they've seen an increase in the amount of people coming through their doors. Those people include federal workers not getting paid and people not receiving their SNAP benefits. The governor presented the food bank with a $3.3 million check to help the staff here provide for people in need around the area. He said he's hopeful that the developments coming out of Washington, D.C. lead to an end of the government shutdown.
Having hungry Americans is a choice that the federal government is making. That is the wrong choice. They don't have to be giving tax giveaways to exceptionally wealthy people and corporations. They could be ensuring that every American has enough food on their table every night.
As you can see, the governor did not mince his words about what he thinks is happening in the government and the impact that it's having on people around the state. Tune into WRAL News tonight at 10 and 11 to hear more about what he had to say.
Willie, before you go, we have talked a lot about SNAP and about health care as well during this shutdown. Did the governor talk about that at all? Any plans to address some concerns around Medicaid specifically?
Yes, Dan, he actually had a lot to say about Medicaid. He says he plans on bringing back the legislature next week and bringing up a bill to help fund it around the state.
All right, Willie Danley, live for us tonight. Willie, thank you.
The desperation for food and the frustration at the airports has been a big driver to end the shutdown. And when it does end, people will get their SNAP benefits and airlines will get back on track. But there will still be a major piece of this story that might not be getting resolved, and that's health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. Let me put this as plainly as I possibly can. A lot of people in North Carolina face a crippling financial crisis because of this, and just about everybody will feel the ripple effects. Thanks to everybody who wrote into us about this topic. We've got a new email, by the way, that we are trying out here at 7 o'clock. It's aptly named 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We got a great number of responses last night. Send us your questions, your feedback, and your stories. We got a really great one from a viewer named Cheryl. She wrote, "Our health insurance just went from $500 a month on the marketplace with a subsidy to $2,707 a month with no subsidy. For two people, I am in tears. I don't know what to do. $500 to $2,700. Cheryl is one of many people who get subsidized health insurance through Marketplace. She qualified because of a temporary subsidy created in 2021, part of a federal response to COVID. It expanded eligibility to more people, anyone earning more than 400% of the federal poverty level. That seems like a big number, but it's actually about $71,000 for a single person or $125,000 for a family of four. Today, there's an estimated 68,000 North Carolinians who get these subsidies to afford insurance through the ACA. That's 68,000 people in our state who will be forced to pay full freight if that enhanced subsidy expires.
This is a huge affordability issue for people on the Affordable Care Act marketplaces who maybe are making too much money to be eligible for Medicaid and are working a job that doesn't offer health benefits. This is a group of people who have typically fallen through the cracks in the American healthcare system.
And that group has gotten bigger and bigger over the years. 357,000 people enrolled in ACA Marketplace in 2014. Today, that number is nearly 1 million. I spoke with a soybean farmer in Wayne County about her situation. We first met Lorenda Overman a few weeks back to talk about how the trade war with China has affected the soybean industry. After watching her soybean sales go down, she's now looking at her health insurance premium going up. She's used the ACA for the past decade because really it was her only option. She didn't have enough employees to qualify for health insurance that way, so she went to private health insurance. But the cost was higher than her salary, so she turned to the ACA. But without the federal subsidy, that premium will rise to a crippling $2,000 a month.
If the subsidy goes away and you wind up having to be on the hook for $2,000 a month in your premium, what would that do to you?
It would hurt. It would hurt bad. I don't know what we would do.
Now, let's be clear. There are a lot of people who want to see these subsidies end, including a viewer named Kyle. He emailed 7 p.m. at WRAL.com, writing, "Because of Obamacare, health insurance is unaffordable. Hopefully, without these subsidies, these greedy insurance companies will lower their costs where it can be affordable." Kyle, I looked into that because I think all of us can really agree that we want to see insurance companies lower their prices. But unfortunately, ending the subsidies is only expected to make insurance premiums higher for everyone. You see, back in July, the North Carolina Department of Insurance said health insurers are requesting rate increases in part because of the end of enhanced subsidies. The July bulletin said the expiration of these subsidies will make it more difficult for people to afford their premiums, and it's anticipated that many people will become uninsured. As a result, more healthy and younger people are expected to drop their coverages, leaving the pool more costly.
We're seeing that already with folks that we help. People are choosing to not select a plan on the marketplace because the premium increases are too high this year is what they're telling us.
All that said, we should mention some other arguments for ending the subsidies. Earlier this year, the Congressional Budget Office found extending the subsidies would add $350 billion to the deficit. The Cato Institute, a conservative think tank, argues that temporary emergency measures should be temporary, writing Congress should resist the natural inclination to let temporary crises permanently expand the size and scope of government. You might agree with that the subsidies should be temporary, that we shouldn't add to the deficit, or you might support extending the subsidies, that we should spend the money on health care. That'll be the question in front of the Senate in December, when they're scheduled to take a vote on this, separate from the larger budget and the shutdown. And people like Cheryl, Lorenda, and Kyle, they'll all be watching.
Ashley, oh man, what an important topic, and one that we have to watch very, very closely. Dealing with people's health care, the biggest stress in a lot of people's lives. We'll keep watching it for you. Meteorologist Kat Campbell, two big stories tonight. We got the cold and we have the northern lights.
So we've got a really big solar storm unfolding right now, and this is going to come in a couple of waves. The first one is here. So the coronal mass ejection has arrived in Earth. Don't worry, we're all still here alive, doing just fine now. And this is a G2 storm out of a G5 being the highest level. And this is the forecast for tonight. We're in that maximum best case scenario of viewing, and I have not seen any evidence that makes me think that we're really going to be able to see it tonight. When we saw it last year in October, for some perspective here, that max visibility line was all the way down in Florida, and we were much closer to the contour of possibly visible. Now, tomorrow, there will be a stronger wave that arrives, and so there could be another chance tomorrow, but the timing may not work out as ideally. It may arrive during the daylight hours, so stay tuned for an update tomorrow. If something changes and the storm overperforms, of course, we will let you know on WRAL.com and tonight on WRAL News at 11. Temperatures right now, 36 in Roxborough, 41 in the Triangle, 39 in Rocky Mount. It's chilly out there, and we did make the record books for one of the coldest Veterans Days since 1950. Today, our high was 47. That ties us in third place for one of the coolest Veterans Day. Let's take a look at the wind forecast for the next several hours. We're likely to see winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. We could still see winds gusting 15 to perhaps up to 20 miles per hour tonight. In the mountains, though, let's take a look at some of the snowfall that lingers tonight and the snow making that's happening here in Beech Mountain. Not much left in Boone there. Sugar Mountain and Winter Place hard to see because it's getting dark, but still some snow on the ground there. Boone had just under an inch of snow. Beech Mountain 2 to 3 inches. Asheville about 1.5 inches to 1 inch of snow reported, and 3 inches for Bakersville. If you see that and you heard that Sugar Mountain is open for skiing this weekend, just keep in mind it's going to be very warm for the weekend, so may not be ideal skiing weather for that. This weekend, we've got a big area of high pressure that's going to be building in, and this is our next weather maker. This is what's going to push the jet stream to the north. We get another beautiful, warm, dry weekend after last weekend's beautiful weather. The jet stream really helping to drive temperatures up, and high pressure here is also going to limit the chances for rain. So get ready for temperatures to stair step. Once we make it past tonight, we are gradually going to be warming up again. Highs climb into the 60s tomorrow, Thursday. Definitely better than 47 when you look at that 62. However, when you look at the 7-day as a whole, check out these numbers. 71 Saturday, 76 on Sunday. We are going to see more 70s over the next 7 days than not. They're filling up over half of the 7-day.
A-okay by me.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
No more flurries.
Kat's the only one disappointed in that. Thank you, Kat.
Hey, on this Veterans Day, we are paying tribute to people in our community who have served in the military. So is UNC, the university's new monument to service. And tonight's one last thing. Hey, one last thing. Today is Veterans Day, and a new wall at UNC pays tribute to those who've served.
Dozens of names, all people associated with UNC, all veterans. Those names are now etched into this installation, unveiled today at Keenan Football Center. The wall details the name of each honoree, their branch, their years of military service, as well as the position and the years they were playing with the UNC football program.
So to be anywhere on that wall is a huge deal, one that I will take with me for the rest of my life, and I hope my kids and grandkids have a chance to come up here and see it.
The goal is for this wall to expand as more alumni are identified and as more alumni complete their military service in years to come.
Very nice. I do want to say we're already getting some emails into the new email that we're trying, which is 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. But what a topic tonight that people are going to want to weigh in on, because it impacts all of us.
All of us, really. Yeah, the ripple effect is there. So thanks for everybody who's already written in.
You got there.
That took too long. Anyway, but do send us an email. We love to get all of the feedback.
Keep it coming. 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We want to start using your feedback as we do in the in-depth segment throughout the entire newscast. So we want to hear what is on your mind throughout the show. We appreciate you being with us here tonight on WRAL News.
Our next newscast is at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL. Have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.